Reporting from the CNN Center, I'm Carl Azus. It's good to have you watching our midweek broadcast of CNN 10. U.S. President Donald Trump is scheduled to visit Las Vegas, Nevada on Wednesday, the scene of the deadliest shooting in modern American history. As investigators pick up pieces of evidence there and try to figure out the suspect's motive, residents of Puerto Rico are picking up the pieces left by Hurricane Maria. The devastating storm made landfall there on September 20th. That's where President Trump was Tuesday, surveying the damage, meeting with Puerto Rican officials, and discussing the U.S. government's aid to the island. Puerto Rico is a U.S. Commonwealth. The island's 3.5 million residents are American citizens, but they don't vote in U.S. presidential elections. They have no voting members in the U.S. Congress, and most Puerto Ricans don't pay a federal income tax. Hurricane Maria left all of them without electricity, and most still don't have it. More than half of people there also don't have access to clean drinking water. Some Puerto Ricans, like the mayor of the capital, San Juan, have criticized the U.S. federal government for making an inefficient response to the hurricane. Others, like the island's governor, have praised the government for quickly addressing the island's concerns. The White House says thousands of members of the U.S. National Guard have been in Puerto Rico since before the storm hit, and thousands of containers of food, water, and medical supplies have been sent to Puerto Rico. But with the shortage of truck drivers, diesel fuel, and working phone lines, officials have had trouble getting the aid to those who need it.
The thing about Puerto Rico is that it was already on the edge. Many here are sick, older, and poorer than the mainland, with long waits, a severe shortage of specialists, and an economic recession. There was no reserve here. Nothing to keep them from toppling off the edge.
The hurricane just causes a lot of stress. You have people, coming late from work, trying to get gas, and stress builds up.
That's just what's happening on one of the Caribbean islands that was struck by Hurricane Maria.
The approach to St. Croix reveals a storm-tossed island still littered with debris. The airport, an improvised operation with a military presence. Outside, civilians wait to be evacuated, joining the thousands now fleeing to the U.S. mainland aboard what the authorities call mercy flights and mercy ships. Among them, 19-year-old Taylor Thompson, her 11-year-old brother Alex, and their dog Whiskey.
Because everything is destroyed, homes, cars, businesses. That's absolutely terrible because you can't get a hold of people you know. I haven't talked to my friends since the storm passed. I have no idea if they're okay, if their house is standing. So you just don't know anything, and it's awful.
Hurricane Maria's devastating winds left a path of destruction, uprooting trees, ripping down power lines, and according to federal officials, damaging more than 2,000 structures. Everywhere you look, people are cleaning up, including Dan Zabrowski and his son's friend Tyler, who are also hoping to make a little money collecting scrap metal.
Look at this. This is history. This hurricane season's history. Nothing like this has ever happened.
The U.S. Virgin Islands have long been an American tropical paradise, but now two back-to-back monster storms have devastated the tourism industry, which makes up the backbone of the island's economy. The cruise ship currently docked here provides temporary housing for disaster relief workers instead of tourists. Curfew sets in at 6 p.m., an effort to stop looting that erupted after the storm.
Yes, this was blown off and a piece of it cracked off. Kind of a symbol as to where my office is now.
Attorney Yvette Ross Edwards shows me her office, soaked by rain after the storm damaged the building's roof. Realistically, how long would it be before you can get back to work?
I'm looking at not until January. That's how long I'm looking.
Until then, she and her employees have to live without salaries. And yet the island still is not out of the danger zone.
And unfortunately, we're just getting past the middle of the hurricane season, so we have almost 2 more months to go, and that's the sad part of it.
Let's hope nature gives this battered corner of paradise some time to recover.
10-second trivia. A century ago, Remington, Royal, and Underwood were all famous brands of what? Razors, watches, looms, or typewriters? All of these companies were famous for producing typewriters, machines that were invented in the 1800s. Technology's certainly changed, but there are some classic typewriter characteristics that endure today. The QWERTY keyboard, for example, it was patented in 1878, and one theory is that the letters were laid out that way to keep the typewriter's mechanical keys separated so they wouldn't jam up. That hasn't been proven, but the machine's popularity was. Even now, some folks still have a special place in their hearts and livelihoods for typewriters.
In the 60s and 70s and 80s, you looked in the New York Yellow Pages, there was 6 pages of typewriter companies right here in Manhattan. Now, if you look, there's only 2 or 3 or 4 of us left. Zip, zip.
Meet Paul, last of a breed.
When I'm out on a service call,
Yeah,
this is me.
this is you.
Going out, I can carry some of my tools,
Very
screwdrivers, cleaning rigs, and some of my smelly chemicals.
His dad had the same kit back during the Depression, going office door to door. When Paul came back from the Navy, his pop made him buy a suit and gave him a tryout. 55 years later, the little shop is his now, with his son helping out, and it is a portal back in time.
This is all steel. I mean, this is a heavy-duty machine.
Can I feel the weight?
Yeah.
Wow. He revives models from the 30s that could anchor a boat.
Would you mind if I took this for a little test run for old time's sake?
Yeah, no problem.
And models from the 70s that'll snap you right back to Mrs. Shimoleski's 10th grade typing lab.
Very good. Good typist.
Not bad, right?
No?
Did you notice my posture there?
No, very good. It's good to see some of the younger generation still knows how to type.
It's good to hear you refer to me as the younger generation. I'll take that.
To be honest, I came here to feel sorry for Paul. One more refugee of progress in a dying industry. But
There's still a lot of younger people who are rediscovering typewriters.
oh, come on, Paul. Really?
Doorbell just rang. Can I just
You
get
need
that
it?
for a minute?
Please do, yeah, go right ahead.
Can I help you?
I was wondering if you guys sell correction tape. I have an IBM Selectric and I refuse to use anything else.
Hey, you want to tell these people that?
These machines are more reliable than my computer.
Is that right? Is that why you use it?
Yeah, and they also can't get distracted. They do one thing, they type. You can't check your Facebook, you can't do your email. Maybe I'm a romantic at heart, but everything about the typewriter is just more fluid to me.
And how long will Gramercy typewriter?
Oh, this can
Be around.
No, this can go for many years to come.
If we want robots to help us do things, it's not very efficient to have a different one for each task. That's a quote from the leader of this MIT project on what you could call origami robots. Basically, this involves a small machine that's able to position itself into a plastic exoskeleton. When that exoskeleton is heated, it changes into a predetermined shape. Then the robot is able to move, sail, or even glide to a new place. Now, there are many layers to this story and some heated questions. What happens if it's cold? Is this research gold? Will it be put on hold? Will the idea get old, or do they intend for it to be sold? Lastly, how do they keep the robot in the fold? I'm Carl Azus, and it's time for CNN 10 to power down.